Get ready, because Banter with Richie B Productions is launching an all-new podcast network. 4 shows, 4 hosts, 1 powerhouse of paranormal and cryptid entertainment all week long. Ghost Cats and Cryptids joining the Banter with Richie B Podcast Network every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join researcher Jean Tewskbury as she dives into the world of mountain lions, the elusive predators known as ghost cats. Jean also explores cryptids, separating fact from folklore and asking the questions others won't. Kick off your week on Tuesdays with the one and only Wojo, host of Home of the Boom. He's diving deep into the world of cryptids, Bigfoot, and the mysteries that shake the woods. Interviews, investigations, and the loudest boom in the cryptid community. Every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fridays get a little darker and a whole lot prettier. Join Sam from Sam's Pretty Paranormal, where makeup meets the macabre. It's Sam After Dark, spooky storytelling, and her fan favorite segment, Cooking for the Dead. Tune in every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for glam, goosebumps, and all things ghoulish. And every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the flagship show returns. Banter with Richie B Live, featuring Richie B and Wojo. From updates to investigations to wild discussions, this is the core of the network. Raw, real, and always unpredictable. Spend your Saturday evenings with the duo that started it all. 4 nights of content, 4 incredible hosts, cryptids, ghosts, glam, stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. This is the Banter with Richie B Podcast Network. Get ready, because Banter with Richie B Productions is launching an all-new
Hey everybody, I'm glad to see everybody here. I thought I had this all down and I was so wrong. It didn't quite go the way I planned. Hey Sam, how you doing? Wojo. I see that Big Andy was in here. It was unacknowledgeable and unknown. Good to see you. Hey Giovanni, how are you? Curious, it's good to see you. Just trying to catch up and see if I missed anybody, because I was going through this. Hey, Bounty Hunter Bear. As I was going along, and then, yeah, somehow or another, I got it going all right, but I couldn't get back on the screen. So tonight's episode, we're going to just kind of go over the research that I have done over the past 10 years. I'm kind of excited by it because I was able to finally upload some photos, and I can show you guys stuff and get your opinions on it, because some of the stuff I still really don't know. It's just very interesting, and I hope you can help me out here. Most people know that I started young, but I actually didn't do my first Bigfoot expedition until 2016. Hey, Jean. Hey, Andy. Hey, Jean. I'm reading your comments. It's going to be a great night. I am very tired. I am so sorry. And I do have lots and lots of notes, because you know me, when I start talking, I get flighty and everything goes all over the place. I'm excited for this. Yeah, I am too, because I double checked and triple checked to make sure that I could actually throw photos up. The only issue is they're like this big, so I got to try to see if I can hit the right one each time. But in 2016, I did my first expedition, but it was in New York. I did it in Whitehall, New York, because that is a hot spot in the Northeast for Bigfoot sightings. There were sightings in the 1970s that involved police officers. There was sightings on a golf course there. They actually have added a Bigfoot to that. The town has a huge wooden carving of a Sasquatch right in the town square along the remnants of the USS Ticonderoga. They actually have an ordinance, which I brought back from my expedition. It's hanging on my wall, and I will grab that. This is their ordinance, and it says that you're not allowed to harm a Sasquatch if you come across them, which is really cool. It was great that they allowed me to get a copy of that to bring back. I know I hadn't seen you before. It's very nice to have you here. I just don't like calling you unacknowledgeable unknown. It just sounds wrong. But good to see you, and I'm glad that you stopped in to check it out. So I did that. We had some good results. We went with another group out of New Jersey, and he does his own YouTube show, and he had actually done the episode that, during my first expedition, and we did get some activity. My husband had never done the stuff, but I always make him go with me until I know people better. And while he was out, they actually have in the audio, they thought it was they were being surrounded because they had a lot of movement, but it was actually rocks being thrown. You can hear them pinging off the trees and the leaves, which was really, really cool. When I got back, though, I was working and I met a very, very, very sweet gentleman who came in to where I was working and was asking if anybody could help him because he believed that he had some Bigfoot activity on his property. And he had brought in a part of a tree that he had cut, but the tree had been snapped, like perfectly snapped, and you could put it back together like a puzzle piece. And it was kind of neat. So I talked to him for a bit. He had his grandson with him. We had a conversation, and I told him that, I was going to be out of town for a bit at the end of September because I met him on September 1st. But as soon as I got back into town, I would reach out to him and we would set something up. So Stan and I did that. We went up, and he had, when we first pulled in, my husband was like, this is going to be a very, very short trip. He's in a trailer park. But he was, and it was a very small one. But in behind was a lot of forest area. They had a huge pond, a mountain in the background that was on the other side of the pond. A lot of trails in there. So I was like, well, let's just give him a chance. He can show us stuff. And the only issue with the photos that I got there is because it was so far back, I don't have them on my computer, but I do have a few. I don't know if you'll be able to see them or not, but it was really neat because one of the things that stood out to me and my jaw dropped and I stopped and my husband kept looking at me going, what is going on with you? And I will have it later on because I spent a lot of time on this gentleman's property and the area around his property. And there you go. And there I go. Here I go. But there was a broken tree and it was twisted. It was like, I don't know if it was a branch or what it was, but it was a thick one. And it was twisted and twisted and twisted. And then it was shoved a good 8 feet up in another tree. And the way that it was all of the branches were broke off this tree. And it was probably due to the fact that, it is a trail and people probably, broke them off as it was going and they just kept growing. But this thing was woven in. It was weird, the angle. It literally had to have been kind of, knotted, woven down and stuff. And my husband thought I was crazy, but I'm like just standing there, just staring at this thing. And I took several photos. I don't know if you can see this one. I do have one of it later on when I went back, but it's, let's see, there's a lot of glare here. And I'm sorry, I'll try to get rid of the glare if I can or block it. But it's woven in. It's like here and it comes down through and it's very, very neat the way that it came out. And like I said, I'll have one up that looks better than this anyways, but that was from the first one. He had a lot of X's in the back, but they weren't just regular X's. They were like X's with smaller X's with tree. It was incredible. I got a lot of images and I decided that, oh yeah, being in a small trailer park. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, and it is, it's like, yeah, there's the property, good habitat. Yeah, it is. It was great habitat for it. Oh no, it's fine, Giovanni. Don't be. I just was trying to figure out what you were saying because I felt bad not being able to kind of respond properly. But yeah, so I mean, and I sat down and I talked to him. I documented what he had to say because he did have a sighting about 15 years prior. He was up on the mountain, which is in the next town over. Him and a friend were coyote hunting, and he saw what appeared to be a large, dark figure walking across the ridge line of the hill that was, he said, about 50 feet away. When Stan and I went to actually check it out, Stan was like, that's a football field away. And if you could actually see that thing stand up and just move across as fast as it did, he's like, that's a miracle in itself. He said, so yeah, he goes, your depth perception is off a little bit, but yeah, it was, he went through and everything and with us, cancel. And he went through everything with us, and it was interesting, all the different stuff that we were coming up with. So over the years, he'd call me if he found a print. He'd call me, if he had any activity and stuff. And so I spent a lot of time working with him. But in between that, I ended up meeting another couple, and the woman asked if there was anybody who could check out hers because she just came across some very interesting tracks and didn't quite know what to make of them. And she says, I don't think it is, she goes, but it's just very strange. And hey, Richie, how are you? And so, again, she actually emailed me the photos that she had. They were actually really, really interesting. I took them to a Curious Cryptids. Nope, this was actually in Maine. That was when, because I went to New York first, but when I got back and I was at work, that's when I met Mr. Seeger. He had asked me, if anybody could help him with his stuff. So now I'm back in Maine, and these ones are in Maine. I don't have any of the ones from the New York expeditions because where I went with somebody else, he had, the rights to that. So driving a softball meeting, so there'll be, apologize everybody. Thanks for popping in, Richie. I appreciate that. So I ended up, she emailed me the pictures. We talked a little bit on the phone, went over some stuff. And the only day that we could meet, because when I first met her, it was in February. And that winter, it was kind of like this winter. There was a lot of snow. And they already had 3 feet of snow behind their property. So there was no way to get out in to look around where we needed to. But they had found the prints before the last big storm that we had. So they took photos and stuff. Her husband noticed it when he was out checking his trail cams because he hunts out back. So he has trail cams out to just keep an eye on the wildlife that's around. Hi, William. Good to see you. So anyways, I'm going to try to pull those pictures up and see if I can get a couple where you guys can give your opinion on stuff. And then I can show you the last one of the set, which I think is amazing. And I'll let you know what others have said when I've shown them the photos, other researchers. So let me grab images. It's going to be a minute. This is all new to me. I apologize and apologize for this. I really, 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 really do. See, I think that's 4. It should be 2. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if this works. No, I don't want it that one. I want the screen. There we go. So this is one of the photos that they sent. This is the with the distance between each one of the tracks that they found, whether it was, Bigfoot or something else, but it was 5.5 feet. It was a very, very good distance. He actually measured a couple different times. They've got a couple different photos of it. Yeah, they do. They have sightings that go back decades. Whitehall does. And it is, everybody asks where my favorite spot is. And I tell them that my favorite spot is Whitehall. When it comes to New England, I find that is a great spot because they have had so many. And like I said, the first expedition that I had gone on to, we got audio the second night we were there. So I'm going to pull up another one here, and it keeps doing this to me. I don't know why it does that. So yeah, here's another one where it goes, where they're measuring the distance. And I mean, like I said, it was a good stride. It was a good 5.5 feet. I have gotten a lot of, only 5 feet. Yeah. And I've gotten a lot of, when I've shown this, it's deer bounding, which I do know they do that. So, it's not that, whoops, hold on here. I gotta fix this here. So it's not that, inconceivable that it could be, but it's like I said, it's going to be the last photo that I show. That's going to be the one that, trying to get another image up here. This is all new, and I'm just happy that I can actually do it. So I'm very thankful that you guys are bearing with me here, because I'm really excited to be able to show this off. And why does it keep doing that? So here we go. There we go. All right. Yeah. And so, I can't, with the way that it is now, I can't. I've got the photo, and I could, if I look at it real quick, I could probably tell you. But I mean, that was, I believe, 14 to 15. Actually, you can see right there. Oh, yeah, it was 15 inches. Actually, I can see it on the big monitor. Thank you, Richie, for the monitor idea, because it works great. I can see so much better than on my little tablet. Get your ass down to the spots in New England first, and second of all, you'll be new to the spot. Stride length would match Bigfoot strides. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to skip, because like I said, I've got a couple more, but I'm going to skip to the last one, because the last one is the one when you tell me it's a deer bounding. That's when I kind of think in my head, are you crazy? Because it's incredible. All right, this should be it right here. And please stay on the screen. No, it went back to the other one. Hold on, I gotta fix it. Okay, so they have the strides, they have the thing. Well, all of a sudden, whatever it was decided to stop. You have two prints side by side with that distance between it before it takes off single file again. And I just find that last photo, and I don't think that they meant to actually take it. They were just trying to get as many photos as they could, because you can see that with all the photos they've walked through. But the husband was very, very curious on what the heck it could be, and the wife was figuring maybe that's what it was, but she wasn't sure, and that's why she wanted somebody to come out and check the area. So, but I found that, the other ones, yeah, okay, they could be deer bounding, but this is the same, set of photos. And I find that this right here, whatever it was, stood. So it's not going to, and I don't know if you can see the mouse or not, but it's like, it's not going to jump, it's not going to stop here and then jump over here. It's not going to hop to the side. And yeah, it was a nice little area. I still can't quite, tell, because those tracks are old. And when we get out there, most of the snow was gone. But I did find, we sat down after, they showed me the area where they found the tracks, where this area was here, which was much more grown in. And he was telling me that 2 years prior, because they live in the area they live in, it's like a little roundabout, and there's probably like 8 homes in there, and then the rest of it is like field. There's an old runway, I guess, that they can still use in emergencies, off to the side, because we ended up way over there at one point when he was showing us around the area and stuff. But we were sitting back on the porch, and he said that one morning he got woke up, and so did most of the neighborhood, him and his wife. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, and him and probably 3 other guys went out looking in the woods out behind the place because they had blood hurtling screams. It sounded like a woman being killed is what they said, which I found kind of strange and ironic because you heard that, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, they can make that sound like a woman screaming. And sometimes when you hear the stories and stuff, it's to see if they can get somebody out there, or it's to frighten you off. And these guys went out and looked, but they said they couldn't find anything. It was the strangest thing, but it was 4 o'clock in the morning and they all got woke up by what sounded like a woman being just like murdered. The blood hurling screams were insane, they said. No, I don't know the distance because this one they didn't measure and stuff, but I mean, if you look at his footprints and stuff, I mean, that's just a normal stride for a person. So it's a good distance. It's not anything like the strides. I mean, because you can see the difference there, but whatever it is standing. It's standing still. Hey, TM Drake, how are you? So once I got done doing that, I was like, okay, we had our talk. They haven't had any more activity. I did tell them they have my number, my email and stuff, that they could get a hold of me at any point. I would be happy to come back up. It took us a good 2.5, 3 hours to get there, but to me, it was worth it. I mean, I want to be able to give people a chance to tell their stories, and they're giving me a chance to actually look into something, knowing that I'm not going to say, yes, this is what you saw. It's going to be, I want to investigate. I want to know more. I want to hear what you have to say. Tansei Elder, thanks for popping in. So I still, at that point in time, was just out doing my own stuff, and I have a lot of trails. I have a lot of forest area in where I live, and there's a lot of hiking trails. We do have hiking trails. We have snowmobile trails, and I decided to go across one of the snowmobile trails one winter just to see what I could see for tracks, for animal tracks, because I do like seeing what's out there running around and stuff. And it was February, and my daughter and I were out, and we're walking along the trail, and something had caught my eye, and I was like, really, like, what the heck? Because it was a good probably 50, 60 feet off of the trail itself. And it just kind of stood out, and it was different. And I took it to be some type of marking. Not that a person would do it, because I don't know why they would go so far off trail in order to set this thing up. Plus the fact of what it was when I did actually get out there, which took a while because granted it's wintertime and the ground's frozen, but it was still mossy terrain where it's that spongy stuff. So it's frozen, but you still have that uneasy feeling when you walk on it. I'm sorry, here go my hands again. Oh, you're not late, Elder. I'm happy you stopped in. You could have come in 10 minutes before the show's over, and I'd be happier than heck. So thank you. I am not going to quiver at all if somebody comes in. I've done that before. Life is busy. So don't worry about that at all. All right. So let's see if I can pull up this image for you and see what you guys think of it, because I think it's really cool. So let's see. I hope this is it. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. I found it. It took me a minute. Sorry, guys. Like I said, this is all new, but I'm so happy I get to share photos. So this right here is what I was talking about. It is, and actually, if you look at it, it's a tree root and there's no tree on the back side of this. It's and it was fresh. And the reason that I say that this was fresh was due to the fact that I went back a month later and this thing was as gray and as dull looking and dead as possible. Was there any visuals of people? Yeah. Oh, and in that first one with the snow ones where we were, no, I didn't, when you're out there, you can't see any of like the houses or anything. He got out that way due to a snowmobile. That's how he was out in there and stuff. I hope that answers the question. But I found this really interesting. I actually sent this to the Vogel brothers to get their their opinion. I think I showed it to them because I wanted their opinion on this because I thought it was very, very strange. And having this out of nowhere and this one that goes up, it's like it's got its own little X that's pinned through it and behind. And I just found that was it was different. I'm not saying it's not man-made, but if they did, they wanted to walk a ways, carrying and lifting and putting stuff together. But I just found that was a very, very interesting sign, as what I call it. So, so that was what I did there. And then afterwards, after I got that photo and stuff, I went to a conference in Massachusetts. And that's when I took the photos from the first, from the second place I went to with the snow prints and stuff to ask and see if there was anybody that had any idea, what it would be. And that's when I got from one of the researchers that it was deer bounding. And if I showed those to Dr. Meldrum, that's exactly what he'd tell me it was. So I was like, okay. And I went through the photos, but yeah, by the end of it, it didn't matter what I said. I was, it was a deer bounding and I didn't know. Yeah, that one, I think this one is very unique and stuff because I've never seen anything like it because I've seen big X's and I've seen a lot of different structures and what Richie's got. He's got some amazing structures, but this isn't a structure and it's not like a regular X. It's almost like I don't know. It's weird to me. It's like a sign. I don't know if it's a warning sign or if it's go this way. So I have no idea. I think it's, yeah, it was pulled. Well, it's actually, there's nothing there because that is, like I said, fresh. I don't know where it came from, but it didn't come from this area. It was just, yeah. And it was put up against that, but it also has the other stuff going through because I ended up walking up to it. Like I said, it took me a bit because the ground wasn't that great to try to walk on. Plus it was icy due to the fact that snow was melting and stuff, but it was just one of those. Yeah, it would. Hey, John, how are you? So yeah, and then 2019, I had been going back and forth. Like I said, I'd made several trips to Mr. Seeger's. And actually it was still 2018. It was before I did the expedition. Let me get this off here. I went up in 2018 and I took my best friend with me because she wanted to know, what the heck do you do? She goes, yeah, it's a large arrow. Thanks, Wojo, because it was like, it's weird that, yeah. But like I said, it would have been beautiful. Yeah, it was just weird because I went back a week later and The thing was, like I said, I realized that when I found it, it had been very recent because it was still fresh. It was nice and brown. But when I went back a month later, it was like dried out, the gray, the dead looking tree thing. And I just was like, what the heck? And it was still there. Nobody messed with it or anything. So I didn't know what to think. So this is why I'm putting this stuff up, because I'd love anybody's, opinions, suggestions on what they might think it is, anything like that. It's just stuff that I have, that I find interesting. And yeah, it's been a challenge sometimes trying to figure stuff out. So, like I said, Mr. Seeger was the first one who asked me to come check out his property. And like I said, he lived in the trailer park. He had all that beautiful lush forest behind him. He had a nice big pond. It was nice when we walked down to the pond because you could tell where deer had been bedding in to lay down because it was all like curved down. It was nice. And so I continued to go back every now and then to just check out the area, see if anything new had happened. And then my friend says, well, what are you going to do? And I says, I'm headed up to see Mr. Seeger and his wife, Jeanette. And we're going to go check out the mountain because they finally let you up there, because it's blocked off in the wintertime because it's very hard to get up there. It's very muddy and there's a lot of landslides. Oops. Yeah, with the road, so it'll cave and it just, there's big holes and it's hard to get up in there. Yeah, it does look heavy. And so we went back up, and I have told people before that I have, when we were up there, she was asking about different stuff and what I did, and I'm going to try to find the images and see if I can. Yes, here we go. So hopefully this is the right one. If not, I'll be taking it off real quick. This is my bestie who wanted to go, and this is the tree. Whoops, I think I might have to change that down some because I don't want that being cut out, but it has moved down some, but it's up there a ways, and it has kind of slid some. But see how that's woven in? The whole thing up above is twisted, and it was twisted right around, and it was just the neatest thing I'd ever seen. She is very tall. She's almost 6 feet for a woman that's tall, and she's got her arm up reaching, and she can't quite reach it. It's like... And when I first went in 2016 to check out the area and stuff, because, I showed that to somebody and they're like, oh, it's just another tree fell into a tree. And I'm like, okay, well, there's no like, what the heck, stumps where something had broke or fall. There was nothing around that area where in that general area where it would have fallen. And I just found it very, very intriguing. No, it's just sad. I had a rough year in 2024. Mr. Seeger passed away. He had stopped doing the Bigfoot stuff, but he would still have me come up. And because he was very interested in the mountain lion stuff that I was doing, and he knew people who have had sightings, so he was helping get me in contact with them. He was a very wonderful, wonderful man. His wife ended up in a nursing home because her health had failed, but she's doing better. I still go to see her, but he passed away on April 11th in 2024, and then right behind that, in May 30th. Because he was April 30th. May 30th, I lost my neighbor next door who was like family, came over every year for Christmas. And then on June 30th, I lost my friend Trina, who I had known for 20 years, very, very close. So I had 3 people in 30 days of each other pass. So it was a rough year. I don't fly. I'm scared of heights, but my brother moved to Florida, and I just had to get away. And I did fly. I said, if, I'm doing it for them because they're not going to want me to be miserable and wallow in self-pity. So a lot of times when I do my research, I will still talk about Mr. Seeger because he gave me an opportunity to do what I love to do. And I laugh because after the first meeting that we had and stuff, and then he'd call me and I'd go up and check stuff out. Him and his wife, he would look and he'd be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I don't feel crazy because every time he opened his mouth to somebody and said something, they treated him like he was a lunatic and crazy. Hey, Benno, thank you. So yeah, that photo is one of like my favorites because that was what got me noticing his property so much, and then off of his property as well. And then that day we went up onto the mountain because no, hold on, click off that. I don't want to close myself out here. Because we wanted to check out up on the mountain because that's where he had his sighting, his very first sighting and stuff. And excuse me, I gotta take a drink of coffee here. So while we were up there, I have mentioned to people, and it's very hard to see, but I hope that somebody can actually see this because I had to blow it. I had to actually blow the photo up to actually see it really, really, really well. But while we were up there, I found a footprint in a cemetery. It's an 1800 cemetery. It's old. And my friend found a few feet in front of it what looked to be a trip mark. And I mean, the ground was torn up. And then down over this little hill, we went down and we found what we believe to be a handprint. And if you go around, like I said, I don't know if you see this mouse or not, around my thumb is straight up. The thing is curved. There's a curve there and the fingertips go up to here and over to here. I mean, my hand is dwarfed in it. It's very hard. It wasn't deep enough for me to be able to cast, which I was, oh, thank you, everybody. I wasn't saying that to depress anybody. Mr. Seeger meant a lot. Herb meant a lot. It meant so much to me the night that I was on Richie's show, and Elder Medicine Bear Claw had said that he was behind me. And he was just, thankful for all that I did. Herb was a wonderful neighbor, a wonderful member of our family, and we miss him dearly. We still carry on the traditions, my daughter and I, that we did and stuff. So, but yeah, Dehu, oh, Robin, oh, it's yes. Oh, hey, Dehoot, how are you? Actually, at the end of the show, I have got some answers for the questions you had last week. So I figured I'd finish out with all of that, going over my research. So I'm going to switch up the captions here. But yeah, so it was actually really, it was a fun time. And that day, because my best friend got to see what I did, and she got to experience different stuff. The only issue that we had was, damn the ticks. I hate ticks. And I wear permethrin on my clothes, and it usually does pretty good, but I will still end up with ticks on me. It's not good at all. All right. So let's see what else I can come up with here for images. All right. Let's, oh, crap. Hold on. Let me get this out of here. See, I'm screwing up. I'm trying really hard here, people. I am. Let's remove this. Like I said, I am not technology savvy, but I am so happy that I can share this stuff with you guys. I've been wanting to do this, and yeah, last week it did not work in my favor. I was having a mental breakdown. It was not cool. So let's see what else. So in 2019, I did my own expedition there. These are horrible, but oops, hold on. We found a lot of tracks. They were older. It wasn't great, but this was like, these were freaking, I was so excited for him that we were able to find these tracks. This one in back was actually 17 inches long, and it was 6 inches across. But I love this. There's a divot in the top, and that was actually a broken branch that was in the ground that the thing stepped on. You're doing great, electronics. Thank you, and Bear. I appreciate that so much. Yes, Richie is very, very patient. You wouldn't know it at times the way he spazzes out, but you know, he is patient. But when I went to do this expedition, I was happy to do it. I was just a little bummed because I had somebody out of state who does bigfooting, and he likes to travel all over the eastern US and stuff. And he asked me, he said he was going to come up and do an expedition, and he wanted to know if I knew of anybody who had encounters, because he'd like to interview them. And he wanted a place to do an expedition. And I gave him Mr. Seeger's name. They talked on the phone. I thought everything was all set. I told him I would take part in it and stuff. And then just a few weeks before we were supposed to do the expedition, he decides that the area that I picked out wasn't good enough. So he went to Western Maine and did his, and wanted me to go. And I said, no, I've already planned this expedition. I'm not going to change my mind on it. And I was glad that I didn't, because while we were there, we had been in a sand pit that's just a few miles down the road from where he is. And it's all wilderness out back. I've actually put trail cams out and gotten a lot of deer on the thing. But we had gone by that several times when I'd been up. And the last time we went by, there was a tree that was bent down. And I was like, that wasn't like that before. And I was like, you know, I've just been up here 2 weeks ago because we were scouting areas. And so we get out and we looked, and at just above the base of the tree, it was snapped just enough to bend it. And then whatever bent it decided to hold it down and drag it until it stayed the way it was. And then the wind was moving it, and it was making more drag marks in the ground. And a few feet from that was the 17-inch track that we found. There was 2 of them. There was another print that was 4.5 feet in front. They were both old tracks. Like I said, we'd been there, 2 weeks prior, and there had been nothing. So it was like, but the one thing I've learned, and I love these 2, and I'm so excited they're going to be my first guests on the show, is the Vogel brothers. They have a wealth of knowledge on the subject. They have a wealth of knowledge on the subject. And I loved talking with Eric at one point, because, he was like, when in doubt, cast it. When in doubt, just cast it. Don't worry about if it is, if it's not, cast it. And then, you can look deeper into it. And so I've taken those words to heart. And, subscribers, hey, amazing. You deserve it. Yes. So we ended up coming out of that, not that gravel, the sand pit. We came out with that one and another one. I actually took a video of all the stuff that we found that day between the tracks, the tree bend, and then there's trees in, there's a lot of glare. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but let me see if I can find it. Because I do, like I said, I've got lots of notes here because I go off script all the time. But let's see if you can see this. But this is like a structure area. And if you look at that, it's like how the tree goes in, and then you've got this one out. With this one here, it was supposed to be over in front here. It was like broke off and then put over on the other side of that. And this was by that tree bend. And it was just very unique, because it's like the way that it was set up, it's like that does not fall that way. And I couldn't quite figure it out. But then the more that I have watched what Richie does and the research that Richie does, I find that I'm getting a little more of my answers. It's really cool. Hi, previously possessed. How are you? And yeah, like I said, I spent a lot of time in that area. And it was really, really good. I'm trying to see howdy Benno. Everybody saying hi. I love this. I love this chat. I love the fact that we can all get together and discuss this stuff. I have such a great time. I did do an expedition with the Vogels in 2019 as well in Western Massachusetts, but I will save that for another time, probably when they're on the show with me, because I'm very, very excited to have them on. And in 2020, when COVID hit, it was starting to lighten up a little bit at the end of the year. I did a North American Dogman expedition, Region 3. The gentleman is out of New Jersey, but he came up to Maine to do one. I did do that. There wasn't really anything that we came across or anything interesting. Not that I'm not saying that, we did talk to the eyewitness, which was great. I mean, the story was awesome, but we didn't find any evidence. We did spend a lot of time though at the old abandoned radar station. Oh, thank you, Ojo. At the old abandoned radar station that was closed down in 1995, and it was weird to see that property is still actually, they have people that sit in vehicles and watch the property all day, which I found kind of strange. There was an eerie sense to the whole place, and if I was like a UFO person, I would probably be like, this would be a place to check out because it's a little odd and different. But in so, and it was still, I was out in the woods, I was doing stuff, but then, everybody knows my sighting. And I love that I had my sighting, and I actually am able to, if I can find them, I have the photos for them. So let me see if I can pull up that print so Giovanni can see it actually on the screen without it being, shoved up against it. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Nope, that's not it. That is weird. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. Sorry. I so apologize for this. I am so not good at this at all. What is zip? Zippity doo dah, zippity. I don't think this is it. No, that's not it. I can't remember which one it is. I'm trying to remember. I'm going to check here. Oh no, that's other prints. Yeah, no, that's not it. All right, you know what? I'm going to come out of here because I am losing you guys and I don't like it. I will find those in a bit. But I do want to pull those up because I do have those. I'm just trying to remember in which order everything is because I've got so many files in there because I've actually had to pull up so much stuff. Oh, look. Yeah, well, I wanted to check it out because sometimes I've heard stories about dogmen. We've had reports. We have a famous one called sighting in the state. It's the Palmyra Pack. It's where a family was terrorized by 4 or 5 of them that surrounded the house at night. They weren't able to get out. they were climbing things. It actually, the whole story of that though reminds me a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Dog Soldiers. It's one of my favorites. But the way that it's done, it just kind of reminds me of that at nighttime, except, this is a family and not a military, people pinned into a house. All right, let's see if I can do this again. I really want to find those photos for you guys. If not, I can skip on because I've got more anyways. Because I've got more reports, because I actually have the ones from the sightings that I went to check out and stuff. Let's see. Attachment 2. What is that one? Ah, there we go. I found them. So here you go, Giovanni. Oh, come on. Click. Come on. There we go. All right. Please stay up the way. Please, please, please. No, it's going to go the other way. But there you go. There it is. That is my little paw track right there. And you got that, and then that one, and then this one, and over here. And yeah, it's a pretty good size track. Yeah, I love that. Is like my favorite one. I actually I rented it years back, not knowing. I figured I'd check it out. It's like my favorite werewolf movie of all time. It was amazing. Oh, Tim's here. Hey, Tim. Were your ears ringing? I was talking about you and your brother. Yeah, and this was from the sighting that I had on April 2nd in 2022. The only track that it had left on the side of the road. And let's see if I can, because I have a bunch of different photos from that. Let me see if I got the area where it came. Yeah, see, this is the marsh area on the opposite side, and the side that it came out of. I'll pull that up too, because this isn't, but it's like, it's a little salt marsh. And on this side though, from this photo in 1993, the bus driver for the Cushing School actually had a sighting of an adult one in that area. When he was talking to people, they were telling him that's not what he saw. He saw a bobcat, and he's like, I don't know of any bobcats that have long, thick tails, but that's okay. So he was more or less told he was crazy for what he saw. Here we go. This is the side that it was on. Yeah, right here. It came out of where where it's posted. There's a culvert right in there, and that's where it came out of. It ran right up along the side of the road, up over the hill a little ways, and then into the thickets, because it's very thick brush in there. So, oh, how big was the cat? I had to estimate because I was trying not to hit it. I estimated that from the shoulders to the ground, it was about 17 inches tall. It weighed about probably 35 pounds. I estimated the age to be about 5 to 6 months old, because it still had the spots. Yeah, it's very thick brush, and all the way back, there's nothing. I mean, there's a road up the road a little ways that goes down, but that is all woods, and it goes right out to like Route 1, and it's miles and miles of that. And that's what I live around. Everywhere I have, like, there's just miles and miles of like forest area, thick brush, and stuff. So it's like, it's pristine area. And there's been a ton of sightings of the big cats in my area. I've gotten several reports over the years. And just to be able to, when I had mine, I just flipped out, because I literally at the time thought that I was going to hit this little leopard running down. And I was like, Maine doesn't have leopards. What the heck? And then, yeah, I realized that it was a juvenile mountain lion. But I did up a report and everything on it. Remove that. And yeah, and then later on in the year, I had a bunch of people reach out to me via Messenger or Facebook and tag me either into posts or let me know that I needed to get a hold of people. I had a report come out of Central Maine of a sighting. The woman had photos where it was on a hill. It was very, very hard to tell exactly what it was. Plus, the location was kind of a different location. I mean, it was next to a city, so it was just really weird that it would be there, and it's not. I'm not saying that's not what she saw, but it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say what exactly she saw. But on the one that I was tagged into on Facebook, Chris Julian did it. Thank you so much. Aw, Ben was awesome. And so aren't you, Sam? Sam, oh my gosh. My little profile for the cryptids and ghost cats, Sam did. She also did the one that's my new profile picture for Facebook. She is super talented. She comes up with all these awesome designs and creates all this amazing stuff. So if you need anything done, please, 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 please go talk to Sam. All right, let's see if I have got this down yet. What is this one? Hold on, guys. I'm trying to pull up something and see if I can. Okay. I've got a photo coming up and I don't know what it is. Okay, yes. Okay, so this was the photo that was captured. This is my comparison photo. Sorry, I do have a photo that's separate of the cat. But this was posted on Facebook, the bottom photo. And he had a trail camera up and he ended up missing a cat and he was wondering what happened. And he came across this and he put it out there and most people laughed, said it was, a house cat. It was a fox, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And he even reported it to wardens who told him that, no, it's not a mountain lion. So I contacted him. We talked. I went up to his property, asked if I could just look around the area, try to get some, comparison photos and stuff. So I did I did the comparison of the area and stuff. And hold on here. And so I got the area and I was standing in there and I was walking around in this area and there's a good, from where the rock wall is, there's a good 6-7 feet before you get to those trees there. And you can see how thick the tree is. But what got me was the stump that is right here where a tree has broken. That thing is almost to my knees. Where is it with the cat? If that's a house cat, that's not going to block that. And that's just one of those things that I was trying to, when I was talking to my state biologist and stuff, and I'm pointing out, I'm told that, yeah, it's the legs are muscular. You can actually see the tail. It goes right down and it's still, it's behind the other rocks there and stuff. It's, but I was told that, no, it's a house cat or it's a gray fox. Which I still to this day do not agree with, because like I said, you have got, you can see where the V is of the trees with the cat standing there. There is a stump that is just about almost 2 feet tall in between, and you cannot see that at all. It's insane. Now, what got me was while we were talking, he sent me a photo of a picture that his cousin got off his trail cam a month earlier. Which I found very interesting. And whoops, hold on. Let me get this one off first. And then I will bring that one up. And his cousin wouldn't show anybody the photo because you can't see the tail. So he didn't want to get this. It's a bobcat. It's a bobcat. And when I talked to the state biologist, he actually says that he does not think it's a bobcat, but he would not elaborate on that. So let's see. Here we go. And there you are, a month earlier. Their properties are adjacent to each other. And look at that. Look at the hunch on the back there where the shoulder blades is. Look how big and thick that cat is. It's freaking just amazing. Oh, thank you, Benno. So I try really hard to make sure that I can get things kind of set up the same, and because I don't want to just guess. I don't want to tell anybody. See, the thing is angled. Yeah, it is. And the state biologist, because you can't see a tail because it's in the ferns, and whatever it's doing, it's actually it's almost like it's stalking, or it's sneaking, and stuff. But the state biologist actually said that he would say that this one is a mountain lion before he would say the other one's a mountain lion, which I just found kind of funny. It's actually they're the same color here as deer. They have that tawny color to them, and yeah, it's like out west. Excuse me, they are more of a gray color. And oh my gosh, we are going over on time tonight. I hope everybody doesn't mind that. I know that it's really I thought it was really, really interesting that that photo was there. Hey, everybody. Hey, Bryce. Bryce is going to be the guest on Wojo Show this Tuesday, home of the boom. It is. It's gorgeous. But yeah, it's it was just interesting that, that he would say that this was, and that the other one wasn't, that the other one was, either a house cat or a gray fox. And I'm going to look and see if I can actually pull up that picture of it alone. All right, let's see. Oh, no, I can't. It won't come up alone. So, and with doing that stuff, I ended up doing more research with a gentleman I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I was talking about my eDNA, which was Richard Brown. This right here is canine, and you can tell it's canine, but there's another photo, and I think Sam used it in one of the videos that she did for me, and I'm going to try to pull it up real quick. The only issue with the photo is there is ice melt, so it's very, very, very hard to tell just how big it is, but it is definitely feline right there. Let's see if I can I'd rather do this screen. There we go. It makes it look, well, there's that one there, but there's another one too. And this isn't it, but it's, and like I said, that's ice melt. So that is really makes it look so much bigger. And that's one of the things that when I'm doing the stuff is you have to try to make sure that you never knew how hush. Yeah, it is. It's a very hush hush. It's a very hush hush thing here. And when you get to a point with them and they can't argue with you anymore, they will. Trying to see, there's got to be, I don't know what else. I don't know what this is. So I don't want to pull up something else that I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to shut that down. But let me see if I can find that other cougar. The one that's alone. No, that's not it. That's the two. I am really sorry, guys. I'm trying really, 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 really hard here. I don't want to screw anything. I think this is it right here. This is the one I want. And this will be the last thing, and then I'll close out. But yeah, that's it right there. This is the photo without the comparison. But it's like if you, actually it's very blocky. I don't know why that did that. Why is that doing that? That's not how it looks on the thing. So I've screwed something up here. But yeah, you can't even tell on that one. I'm sorry. I'm just going to remove it. But yeah, I'm going to apologize. That's me. I'm going to apologize and apologize and apologize. uh, no, actually, in the state of Maine and all of New England, the East Coast, except for Florida, mountain lions are considered extirpated and extinct. And if you see one, they tell you you saw something else. You saw a bobcat, you saw a bear, you saw a large lab, you saw anything but a mountain lion. And that's in answer to bounty hunting bear. And yes, I won't forget D Hoot's questions I that she did last week. I have gotten reports and reports throughout Maine. I have gotten some out of Mass. I've gotten reports now from New York, Pennsylvania, and other stuff because I inherited some research on the topic and stuff. And so I'm just trying to prove, because if you do sit down and talk to them after a while, they will say, well, they're in transit. Okay, well, if they're in transit, they're coming from someplace nearby. So yeah, that's the whole thing with that. And that's why I do the research that I do now. I still focus with Bigfoot. I still do stuff with Bigfoot, but my focus is mainly with the mountain lion sightings and the big cats. I actually talked to a gentleman who had a sighting in 2011. We did a phone call. He messaged me first, and then we talked via phone on Friday morning. His was interesting though, because his was black. It wasn't a black mountain lion. His description actually sounded more like it was a black melanistic jaguar, which kind of blew my mind. And he actually did report his to the state biologist and stuff, and had a discussion with him. He did tell me what they had, what the biologist said, but I'm not at liberty to discuss. But it was a very, very, very interesting story. Now, going back to that, the week prior, I did the different stuff on. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you, Giovanni. That's sweet. Hey, Rachel. So last week I did on It's All in the Genes, which was discussing melanism in big cats and leucism, which is what makes their fur go white. D Hoot asked a very, very good question on which big cat is the strongest. So I did some in-depth digging, and I found out that actually tigers are considered to be the strongest of all the big cats. Strength, weight, and muscle mass is supposed to be for a tiger. But you look into it more, and it says, though, however, a jaguar has a higher bite force than any other big cat. So it was a lot of going in and checking out stuff, and it was like, yes, overall size, and it's the Bengal and the Siberian species of tiger that are considered to be the strongest strength wise. Yeah, well, I have on here too. The thing that I have to watch out for is, you would not believe the hoaxes that people put out with the big cats too. I have had people reach out to me because I saw a newspaper article and I was like, this is really interesting. And I looked into it more and found out it was a hoax. And the state biologist I sat down and talked to, he was actually the one who discovered that the photo that was supposed to be in Phippsburg, Maine, was actually not Phippsburg. I can't. Farmington, somewhere in there, was actually from British Columbia. Yeah, those tiger, they're huge. Yeah, they do. But it says when it comes to the big cats, the strongest of the cats overall is the tigers. I was going through, and I mean, it was like they were listing off, and then you can go through and it will list off different things though that the other cats are better at and stuff. And like I said, the jaguars have the bite force that is stronger than all of them. But I did have to do that because D Hoot asked, and I was like, this is actually really, really cool. And I like being able to go down rabbit holes with different stuff. So um, oh, thank you, TKB. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, mountain lions actually do. My favorite thing though is, and you can look it up, is I did not know until recently, because I always like to know the animals in my area, because everybody's like, I can't believe you go out and do all this stuff by yourself. And it's like, yeah, well, I know the animals in my area, and I know what to look for and what not to do, and different stuff. But I also like to know what they sound like, the sounds that they make and stuff, because I didn't know that foxes could actually screech like a kid. It's very awkward. Um, but mountain lions can chirp like birds when the young ones are separated, or mom's looking for a juvenile. They can chirp like a bird. It's a little, yeah. I try to remember that noise, because you never know. And I always tell everybody to look up. Oh, you're welcome, D Hoot. But I just thought that was a great question, and I didn't know. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out and find out. So I'm going to end the show now. It went over a little bit. Sorry about that, but I'm not, because I've actually had a really good time being able to actually show you guys this stuff and get your opinions on the stuff that I've done, the research that I've done, and the evidence. So make sure that you tune in Tuesday night to Home of the Boom with your host, Wojo, and his guest this week is Bryce Edwards. So it'll be a great show. Richie will be the co-host as usual. 7 p.m. Tuesday, don't miss it. Then you're going to have Friday night at 9 p.m. our very own Sam, talented, wonderful, just awesome Sam, and her Sam After Dark. So tune in for that. And then Saturday night, of course, is Banter with Richie B. And you never, ever know what's going to happen there. It was a fun show on Saturday. They had some hiccups with Daryl, but I know that it's going to be, Daryl will be on again, and it will be a great show. It was great. They got to go over evidence and everything. So it all worked out. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Benno. Thank you, Curious. I really appreciate everybody here. You're welcome, Sam. I'm being totally honest. So, and boom, that's right, Bryce. I can't wait to see. Good evening. Good night, Giovanni. Thank you, Andy. I'm starting to, I think, come into my niche on this. I still do the a little too much, but I am finding that it's getting better, and I really do love discussing this topic, my research and everything. Thank you, D Hoot. You have a good night. So remember, when it comes to research, sometimes you just have to say, what the hell? Have a good night, guys.